Don't drown in the dust, lay on your hand. Hold tight, don't lose your way. Chasing for the glory to the end. Don't run, be the one. Bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't drown in the dust. The land of the sand knows the answer in your head. Hold tight, it's worth the try. Chasing for the glory in the fight. Don't run, you're the one. Bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Even when you fall, sticks and stones may break your bones, but you are stronger than the heaviest waves. The earthquake won't shake you, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen, you are the truth of the land. You rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. You rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. You rise up, climb to the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen. You will rise up to the top.
A grandiose battle is coming. We've all been waiting for this battle to happen. But mostly, the god of the dead, Osiris. The 32 division champions of each realm have progressed to the playoffs, but only one will be crowned champion. The Grand Trophy is awarded to the strongest in the Hall of Fame. But who is worthy now? Are you strong enough to become a champion? Prove it. Overwhelm your enemies. Show off your skills. And be everyone's bet. Let the fight begin.
What is is going on, Governors? Chiscool here, and today we're casting the Arc of Osiris League Final 4. There are only 4 teams remaining in the realm of Horus, and first up is going to be Song versus JST. That's what we'll be casting in just a moment. Their battle begins in the next 5 minutes. This is going to be hype. Top tier gameplay against top tier teams. And it's anybody's Osiris League Championship to win. Now with me today, casting, is going to be Dragothian. Dragothian, how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Chisco. Looking forward to this match. This definitely got me up early and excited. Cannot wait for JST versus Song. This is, I mean, to me, Chisco, this is kind of like a little mini finals. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, dude, from this point on, it's all incredibly top tier gameplay. You have a good day, and you could beat a team you normally might not be able to beat. I mean, this is requiring everyone to be at their very best for every moment of every game. These, I think, are going to be really close matches, both at 13 UTC, which we're about to cast, and then later today at 15 UTC. Now, let me just add a little flavor to what we're about to watch, right? Because there is an additional Osiris League, right? There is a Korean Osiris League, and in that league, didn't JST and 1V battle in the championship, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I believe so too. And you know, we have those two teams sitting here staring us in the face as well. Could you remember who won the Korean League?
Pretty sure it's JST, right?
Yeah.
So JST is the Korean Osiris League champion, and that was very recent. And so now they're battling against Song. So JST has proven that they've done this once before. Song has to prove themselves now on this big stage. JST with a title to retain and Song with a title to take. I mean, there's a lot at stake in this matchup. Not to mention, by the way, besides all the hype, besides all the cosmetics, right? The little banner next to your name showing that your team has kind of won once before. Yeah, who doesn't want that, right? There's also, by the way, the city skin. City skin's nice. Has a nice little 3% training boost. And if I'm not mistaken, there may also be a grand championship, perhaps. We'll see with the champions of all the realms. I mean, I would be pretty hyped if that was a thing, right?
Oh, for sure. And it definitely will be. I mean, when you go into the league setup, there is a little symbol at the end of the line where it says Grand Finals will be coming. So I'm looking forward to seeing that play out. And we've got quite the matchup today with JST and Song. I mean, I think a lot of people, most of the people that are on this very stream, they have their eye for talent coins on one of these two teams. 1V's very heavily favored and bet on as well. We've got a lot of people placing a lot of bets this week on this matchup. I'm really looking forward to seeing who's not only going to win this one, but go to the finals. This is the finals coming up, guys. You got the semis right now. Whoever wins this goes to the dance. They go to the finals to play for all those juicy rewards.
Yeah. In this matchup coming up, just want to comment for a moment about the alliance power. JST is sitting at 2.6 billion power, and they had not, I believe, gotten their troops back from their KVK at the time of the re-registration during the break in the middle of league. So that's why their power looks low. It is, I would assume, much higher than what you see here. Yeah. So this is a much more even matchup by power than it looks like on the surface. So for those of you who are thinking, I don't know, I mean, they got like, you know, nearly double the power in Song. That's actually not accurate. After their KVK ended. Yeah. I mean, It could be that JST, do they have more power than Song? I don't know, but it almost doesn't matter. There's enough power to go around in this final matchup. And speaking of which, I think that we can now enter into the battlefield almost. In just a moment, we should be able to enter. There it is. All right, Dragothian, let's step into the battlefield. I'll meet you there in just a second. Here we are, folks, in blue, Song from 114, teleporting in now, their key combatants on the screen. A huge amount of power sitting in both alliances, as I was describing earlier. And in red, we've got JST from 1365. This team looking to make its mark in the realm of Horus. We've got, for top contenders, up on the screen, Hulk with a kill score of 158,000. Wow. That is a very high score. On the JST side, 134,000, with their high kill score being represented. Dragothian, what do you think today's battle is going to be all about? Structures? Arcs? What's going to be the deciding factor today, in your opinion?
I wonder if either of these teams, because they do play similar styles. I think JST plays more of a stronger game. If I have to be honest here, but I think Song plays more of a timing game. So JST, I think, is more solid on everything that they do as far as filling structures, as being in the right spot. Having the right amount of players in a certain spot at the right time, all those little things coming together for JST, really taking out top contenders in this season, being season 4 of Osiris League. Song, on the other hand, they do all those things really well too. Don't get me wrong, but they play timing things. They want to be ahead of what their opponent does. And I think JST is going to make that very, very difficult because they're so strong in what they do. I think it's going to be a battle of who can be more successful on executing their type of game plan. And I'm really looking forward to see, Chiskel, the skill usage, because JST, we've seen a couple times skip on some skills to save skills for later, use a combination of skills that traditionally are either one or the other, but they use them together in combination, like an attack buff for one part of the map while also using Insatiable Desire on the backside. So 3 seconds left. I mean, let's go. Let's go, guys.
Let's do this thing, baby. Here's the title they're fighting for, right on the temple area itself. That's where their name's going to be if they win this match and the next one. Off at the start, we're looking for some typical formations of rallies here, perhaps 4 per side. Don't have that yet for the team in blue. We do have that for JST. All 4 rallies set. Song still needing to get that last rally set if they're going to set it. So conventionally, you see these 4 rallies, right? 2 on the defensive obelisks, the ones that you own, to move troops to your own structure to protect it. And 2 to the enemy's obelisk in order to move troops downfield. It looks like Song is foregoing one of those obelisks.
Yeah, and I'm trying to click around and figure out which one it is that third one. Usually, and I just found it. So it's the farthest one away from Song, which is kind of interesting. I would have thought the exact opposite was going to take place. They would rally the obelisk that's closest to them because they have the best chance to possibly snipe it away, because not only is it closer to them, but it's farther away for JST. But no, they're going the actual opposite way and doing the exact opposite of my methodology and thought process. So I couldn't tell you why they're rallying this specific obelisk. Maybe they're really targeting the top lane of this map today instead of spreading it out or facing or forwarding down to maybe the desert altar on the bottom area, where I'm sure in about 3-4 minutes this is going to be a major fight.
Well, I think this is a signal that Song is not looking to play aggressive on that side. That to me would be, it's either a miss or a signal that they're not going to be aggressive there. And I think,
how could it be a miss?
How could it be a miss at this level of play? So it's almost certainly a signal that they're not going to be aggressive at that side. And I Dragothian, I think they're going to make a play for the arc. I think that's a signal that they're making a play for the first arc. And you may be like, whoa, well, Chisco, of course, isn't every team making a play for the first arc? But that's not necessarily true, right? That in the grand finals last season, we saw, I think it was 636, play a structure game that was unbelievable. And that is something that you could do. It is very reasonable. We haven't seen as much of it yet. And I think that, to your point, Dragothian, did we see either side use hard push?
We didn't, but we did, if that makes sense. So didn't see the skills fire off, but with 30 seconds left on each side of the obelisk here, they did use it. It was used. And it just didn't show. So because I was definitely taking a peek at that too.
I was like, hold the phone, because that would certainly be a huge play for mid. So hard push is going to make it so that your rally, I believe, marches faster toward a structure, and also those structures capture a minute faster than they would normally, which is a big, big deal, especially at the start, getting your obelisks, getting your teleports, getting points in the beginning. But also, if they hadn't used that, that would save them a lot of points to use for a mid brawl. But it looks like both teams have, in fact, opted to use those skills. We do see an infantry rally on its way headed toward the desert altar. Makes sense. You know, infantry are a little bit slower. Folks are starting to teleport in on both sides, looking to perhaps be defensive. I mean, I don't see a big offensive yet. Do you?
I don't. Oh. Well, I think it's positioning. I mean, they're positioning right now.
Hold on. Maybe on the lane just above the temple. I mean, JST, Dragothian, I might be reading into this too much, but it sure does look to me like JST's making a move on the desert altar.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's definitely what's going to happen. And my eyes were just transfixed on that infantry rally, which just broke, by the way. But it had a Charles Guan in it. It looked like that. I was just staring at it, trying to rack my brain on why that would make sense. But they broke it, so I mean it's done. And you know what's funny though? On the bottom lane, Song is really positioning around their own Sky Altar. They haven't pushed forward at all. JST's the aggressors right now. JST is the one that's pushing really, really hard, and Song going more on the outside lanes, trying to spread JST out, I think.
Yeah, I like outside lane attacks before the arc spawns because it forces the opposing team to be furthest away from the temple area, which is nice. And I think that signaling of aggression that we read into based on the obelisk rallies is playing out to be true. JST is the aggressor, and they had 4 rallies running on those obelisks at the start with 5 seconds left until the altar opens up north. In. Who gets it? Who gets it? Altar's available. Song grabs it. Well played. Now action is to JST to try to snap that thing back if they can. I mean, at that point, everybody just swarms the darn thing, right?
Oh, wow. Well, hey, take a look at the obelisk on the bottom, too.
Whoa. Sneaky moves. Grabbing the obelisk temporarily might not seem like a big deal, but it kind of is. This is going to prevent some number of teleports flowing to the way of JST. Also, JST successfully capturing the Shrine of Life. Although that looks like that was a bit more of a ninja move rather than a long-term capture. 1 minute, 24 seconds left before first capture points would be available. So those are still going to probably go to Song. However, JST already with 6 minutes, 25 seconds left, bailing on the desert altar to go mid? I don't know. I mean, they're beating on Zenobia over here. It's an interesting choice.
I wonder if they feel like they have enough. I don't think they've got enough, but I wonder if they feel like they have enough to go ahead and
I don't know.
Lead. I don't think they've got it. I think Song has it. I think Song actually could afford to peel some of those folks off and either get them refreshed to go to the middle or go to the middle. And that's kind of what we're starting to see here now. They're starting to peel some of those excess field marches out in favor of going to the middle, seeing JST doing the very same thing. Chisco, it's very hard. It's very hard to just sit there and watch your opponent march to the middle of the field in arc and be like, oh, crap, I'm late.
Yeah, just
that's the worst feeling in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we'll just let them have it. Nobody says, we'll just let them have it, right? So, and you can see Song is answering with twice as many marches to the middle as JST sent, which is kind of funny that you've called that out and it's spot on. There they are. Also, by the way, JST aggression on the outside lane, Sky Alter, huge pressure. Ramsey's primary for the rally. Interesting to see that this team has not taken a page out of the UCS playbook and started using Nebuchadnezzar with Cyrus, which is what they were using. Yeah, it was very compelling when they did that. But they're sticking with the old tried and true Ram, and probably that's Nebu as the secondary.
Yeah. That's definitely Ramsey's Nebu, and that's probably, to be honest with you, if I had to put a statement on it, Ramsey's Nebu is definitely a better damaging rally, and Ramsey's does offer quite a bit of defense as well as Nebuchadnezzar, but I think Cyrus is really for the extra AoE when we're talking about getting swarmed down, right? If you're talking about going to a structure where you think that you're going to have the advantage in the open field, you send Ramsey's Nebu because you're going to be able to wipe the open field, keep and protect your rally, and cause more damage to boot. In this case, again, taking it right there from those Song open field marches. So, I mean, doing a great job is Ramsey's Nebu. I mean, it's a great combo. So is the Cyrus combo, but I think it's more where you just kind of throw it.
What am I looking at? 2 Matildas downfield? That must be large filler marches. Smart.
Yeah, but why?
They were from the rally. I think they were from the rally, and then there just wasn't enough room in the structure.
That's Matilda Freddy, by the way.
Yeah, Matilda Freddy. Hey, that's a lot of troops, man. That is a lot of troops. Yeah. There they go. And they jump in the structure, making use of them. Wow.
Yep.
Yadviga as the garrison. Let's go. 3 minutes till the temple area spawns. I think chat wants to see me turn off simplified graphics.
Yep.
So I'm going to do that real quick.
I'll chat while we're doing it. So by the way, all 4 altars are red right now. Both Shrine of Lives are in the hands of Song, but
oh my God,
all 4 altars are in favor of JST right now. And it's, time to go to the middle, right? 3 minutes left. And they're there too. So JST putting a strong move on, just losing one of those altars on the top lane there that were supposed to be for Song anyway. But, I mean, pumping troops into the middle for a major middle arc fight. You're taking 4 altars right before that arc fight. I mean, that's the best of both worlds, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, so here's my only concern. Okay, so wait, are they about to start this thing? No. If JST doesn't actually accumulate enough points to have made taking those structures worth it, and they lose this arc because they're not actually all at the arc, then that gamble they just took is not worth it. Like, they need to actually hold these altars or get this arc, or that move was not worthwhile. Does that make sense?
It does. But, I mean, the bottom, the Sky Altar is generating points. It's been taken for a while. They're still putting a troop or 2 in every, 5-10 seconds. I don't see any more. Well, there's more coming, but I don't know if they're going to get there in time from Rappa there. That's a long way to march to get over that for reinforcement. And Song, I mean, if nothing else, look how many troop marches Song has over here to take their Sky Altar back. And with 1:50 left until this arc spawns, I mean, it's going to take 2 minutes just to get to the center from that Sky Altar, which is probably kind of the point.
Yeah, I think that's right. 1 minute and 40 seconds left. I mean, at any moment, this could start. Both sides inching forward. How about now, indeed? Song? Am I crazy, or does Song have the numbers here, Jagothian?
I think Song is more spread out, so you see more numbers. I think it's pretty even, actually.
Okay. Mystical Formation activated.
We're coming in.
No skill activation for JST that we can see.
I don't see any swirlies around JST. Everything for Song right now.
There we go. War Drums feels very late to be activating those. Those abilities lasting for 3 minutes. I mean, look, I know some people kind of worry about losing a couple seconds of time when you're walking over, but way worse is fighting a couple seconds without those buffs, in my estimation. But here we go.
I see a lot of players at the top of that blue portion of the ball just standing there. I think they're sitting there waiting to try and snipe the
Oh, they're grabbing the arc, baby.
Takeda,
oh, yeah.
Belisarius.
They're just chilling. They're like, hey, if you don't want to hit me, you're going to let me just dance around up here? No problem.
That.
Yeah, they see it all right. They're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't just get to free carry the Ark of Osiris up in here. And of note is that Song is really pushed to the JST side of the temple. And I am a little bit surprised that JST is kind of going along with that. You know what I mean? Like JST could just as easily focus on the marches more toward the middle, and then they could all be there. So there's this opening. There's this big gap on the song side of this battle that does give them an opportunity here for a breakaway. I think that there are enough players from JST around there that they see that, they can address that, but there's a risk here that it could just get away from them.
It definitely could. I think that JST is doing the right thing though, and not really, with the exception of hitting those, and you can see it in the numbers of song that are going home right now with sad faces. I think they're doing the right thing. They're sitting tight. They sent a few people to come out of their ball to go kill those art carriers from song, but they're basically maintaining their murder ball. And the less you move, the more damage you do. It's a clear correlation. If you're moving, you're not firing skills off. If you're not moving, you're doing normal damage, you're doing counterattack damage, you're doing AoE damage, you're doing skill damage, additional skill damage, all those things that add up to basically winning the arc. And that looks like exactly what JST just did.
I mean, it's decided. This arc's gone. It's over. JST fighting in place.
It's gone.
Not worrying about their position with the exception of a few marches that went out to took the song carriers. This would be a very different story if a song carrier had a breakaway, or would it? I mean, even if the song carrier had a little breakaway, I mean, this was decided. It's over. There's nothing left to fight.
I wonder, losing those two altars right before this kind of kicked off. Like you said, the top one, that there was no real point generation there, so I don't know if that was necessarily a victory for JST when it comes to points, but I wonder if it was a victory for taking people that would normally be going to the middle and making them do more stuff that's not middle related. So they've got to go refresh their marches inside that garrison. They've got to probably start to send another rally and fill that rally against the Shrine of War or against the Sky Altar on the top side. Same thing on the bottom lane. JST actually held that for at least 2 or 3 minutes, which generated points. But then again, those marches that would normally probably have gone to the middle weren't there because they had to not only defend and lose that altar, but also re-rally, re-swarm, take it, re-garrison, refill the garrison, and then come to the middle. It's just about timing.
I agree. I think there's really no question that what they tried to do is create a situation where they had less marches committed than the opposing side. And it seems to have really worked. That whole assault on the buildings, because they didn't hold them, but they did get the arc. So I think it was all just a big distraction, and that distraction paid off in spades. An arc worth of points now in the hands of JST, but it's more than that, Shigothian. They control the pace of the game. Do they hold the arc or do they cap it?
I think they're probably going to hold it for a little bit, at least just to reset it. I've been seeing, and I think you kind of mentioned this in past casts, where they're wanting to kind of make these matches a 2 or 3 arc match and do what you do best. I mean, I think right now what JST does best is interrupt songs' timing plays, and the best way to do that is to make them do multiple things. If you simplify the game by holding this for 12 minutes, like we got 12 minutes left on the timer here, that simplifies the game for song. I don't know if that necessarily plays into your advantage. However, I think they will hold it for a little bit just to kind of get reset like most teams do. That's kind of the meta play right now, just kind of holding it and keeping things, the way you want them, controlling the game, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were headed toward the outpost, but then I think that the Saladin carrier stepped into a caravan, and then a double C carrier picked it up and started to move it. So if they bring that thing back to their own obelisk, I think that's a pretty clear signal that they're holding. If they had made a beeline toward that outpost and capped it, I mean, you don't go to an outpost to hold the arc. That is that's full, fraught with peril, right? So clearly, I think they're on the hold plan at this point.
Yeah, definitely holding it. And I do find the handoff kind of interesting. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, you can forcefully drop the arc if you just put your march, if you're the arc carrier, into a caravan. You will drop the Ark of Osiris, and then somebody else is free to come and pick it up. Obviously, you want that to be one of your own teammates and not an opponent, so don't do it. And just like that, the arc carrier drops it again. Now, keep in mind that does not reset the timer. The only way this gets reset is if somebody from the opposing team picks it up and then you kill them and take it again. That would reset the Ark of Osiris timer.
Maybe that's
Ideally,
what they want. Maybe
yeah,
that's why they
maybe I
dropped
was
it.
just about to say that. Maybe they're gonna kind of leave it here and be like, "Hey, it's here. You should come get it," and then they'll
Yeah.
hold it for another 15 minutes.
I mean,
you know?
they're kind of opening up Song to make the mistake of picking this thing up and resetting the timer. When we say reset the timer, here's what happens. At the end of this 10 minutes, if the folks from JST have not scored this arc, it's going to respawn, I believe, in the middle. So they need to score this arc in 10 minutes and 2 seconds. But if someone from Song were to pick up this arc, it will then reset the 15-minute timer if they were to kill that carrier, if you're in JST, and then take the arc. But I will say, look at this. Song aggression. They took the Shrine of Life. That's a step in the right direction for Song, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. And after I saw that happen, I popped up to the Desert Altar for JST on the bottom lane, and that's looking like it's an under heavy duress from Song too. So Song making a heavy structure play. I would have probably liked to have seen this a little earlier, but this is just probably how long it took to get
Whoa.
here.
Arc is capped, Drago.
Yeah, like I
This
said,
is
I thought they were gonna just reset, just get everybody reset, and then let's go. Let's go ahead and get another.
they're
2 or
making
3.
this a
Yeah,
3-arc game.
yeah, for sure. I mean, and why
Okay.
not? You saw what happened in the middle?
Yeah. I mean, I think they feel like that's a repeatable event. That is what that signals to me. Is that JST is like, "Oh, wait. No, we'll do this over and over. Let's do that again."
But please give us
Although-
our Desert Altar back, though.
Yeah, a little
I think it's
bit
kinda
of
what
a
JST
trade going on.
Nice Arc
I'll
Garrison,
take your
though.
Sky Altar. You take my Desert Altar. Thanks for the point swap. So this actually favors JST, by the way.
Mhm.
Reducing the volume of points coming in favors JST because it means that every arc that they get, assuming they continue to get arcs, is more impactful.
Just gonna
It's a
keep
higher
stacking up.
percentage of the points. Yeah. Wow, look at that captain swap. Jadwiga, captain of
Man,
the
they're
Sky
all
Altar.
about Jadwiga. Song,
can't
however,
blame
again,
'em.
holding this Desert Altar and about to start generating points, by the way. 5 seconds until this starts putting points on Song's scoreboard, and they're pushing towards the obelisk. Same thing that JST is doing. It's almost like they had the same play, just in reverse of each other. This could be a little dicey. I mean, they've traded off now again. JST holding both of the altars on the top lane. Guan Garrison right now, but I'm waiting for that Jadwiga to hop in there. There it is.
Yeah.
It's from Pororo. He's coming in now. He's coming in hot.
Wow. I have to say, I mean, the aggression that JST is putting on structures is impressive. Another trade? Well, I guess the aggression comes at the cost of defense. I do see another Jadwiga on the field here, this time for Song. So both sides seem to be in agreement that the cavalry is a nice downfield garrison, and it makes sense, right? If you've got to march a troop all the way down the battlefield, may as well be a cav garrison, since you could use calves to get there, I mean, potentially like 30 seconds faster, right?
A little bit faster, yeah. That being said, I mean, Song has taken JST's altars. JST has taken Song's altars. Is this map about to flip? Are they just going to have to start teleporting to each other's sides now? Or are they going to actually capture their stuff back? I'd be curious to see how this works. I mean, Song's coming in and starting to maybe on the top lane zero some cities over here on this top
What?
obelisk area. They're targeting cities.
Okay, well, I feel like targeting cities is probably not where you want to be, given that the arc spawns in 5 minutes. JST seems to be very keenly aware, and they're going to the middle from both sides, by the way. Both sides of the temple area. They're like, oh, arc,
Probably
5
gonna go this
minutes, everybody to the center. And by everybody to the center, I don't know, actually. It doesn't look like they've made that call at all.
I'm looking at the map, and it's becoming very blue very quickly. Obelisk on the bottom lane, taken by Song at least for a second. Now it's back to JST. JST kind of getting a little bit of a dose of their own medicine, I think. The outposts, again, are currently 2 out of 3 in Song's hands. 3 out of the 4 altars are now Song's as well. You've got a 3,400 point difference right now, which is basically the next arc in favor of JST right now. If Song captures this, they're in the lead. They're in the driver's seat, and they've got more structures than JST does. So I mean, this thing is going to go back and forth. until the very end, it's going to come down to provisioning. It's going to come down to that last arc, probably, Chisco. And it's probably going to come into who can win the open field battle for that last arc in the final 5 to 10 minutes.
I have to say, I mean, from a caster's standpoint, it's way more fun to watch a matchup that has more arcs than less. I mean, as cool as it is to watch the strategy unfold of a 2-arc game, who doesn't want more mid-brawls? Come on, they're fun. Speaking of which, JST knows, and Song is collecting as well for this mid-brawl in 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
I think JST is just a bit ahead of Song.
They are.
You can see the big chunks of players coming in from the outsides into the middle. I'm really liking the presence from JST that they've got right now. Song is there, but I'm wondering if you see how JST is just inching a little bit more. They're going to go pounce on them as soon as they get this big chunk coming in that's currently in the middle.
Are they going to drive? Did you saw the last arc fight? They didn't have to go anywhere. Song came to their side of the temple, and JST was just like, all right, fine, I'm just going to stand there and do my thing.
They're backing up. They don't have enough. That's what I'm saying. If you have the advantage, if you have the numbers advantage, clearly numbers advantage.
Dude, look at JST. Every inch that Song gives, JST's like, fine, I'll take that. And they just step up even more, opening up that distance, which I really don't think this distance, Dragothian, is going to be relevant. I actually don't think it is. I think it's a cool idea, but I think one team or the other is going to win this fight, and that's going to decide what happens. It's not going to be about this little distance right here. Look at this. Edward of Woodstock just stepping up, tip of the spear.
I'm the most squishy march on this field right now. I'm going to be at the very front. That's where I want to be.
Yeah, but banana helmet, Edward of Woodstock, chilling at the front, taunting them.
Oh my goodness.
Love it. Love it. I mean, so we're watching the middle because with 2 minutes left, there it is. The break has to happen, and here it comes. There they go.
Song got heavily reinforced from behind, by the way. Just heavily reinforced.
There's mystical formation. Now, as I said last time, the arc fight was decided in less than 3 minutes anyways. So you may as well start the fight with the buff. I think that's fine. It's a little early, but it's not going to matter that much. Rather have it than not. There's JST activating war drums and turning around to take the fight at the temple. Here we go, B. I told you that territory was not going to matter. They're all fighting right in the middle now.
Well, yeah, JST pulled back, and you know what? That's a solid strategy, and reason being, they just made about 10 to 15 seconds of buff for Song just go away by just pulling back. They saw that they put mystical formation. I'm telling. Look at this. Song's already going home.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I think is more important than the buff duration? The reason why I think it kind of is disadvantaged to fight so far downfield if you were JST is that your marches that are rejoining this fight have like an extra 20 seconds to walk to join the fight, and Songs would have had 20 seconds less. So I think the big advantage of moving the fight to the middle is they made all the marches from Song that were late have to walk 20 seconds more. And they made the JST marches that were late have to walk less. I think that was the thing I liked the most. And I think you're also very right that they did waste some of the timer on that buff. I just don't know how much that's going to matter.
We've got double C's in the fringe for JST trying to like stay alive, keep a little bit of health. That's all you need. In fact, you want less than half health if you're a mobility primary march that's using cavalry because of that charge talent on the cavalry tree. You want that activated. That's a large chunk of march speed that you get access to when you have less than 50% health on your march. And Song doing its very best to oblige that double C on the outside to the right and probably kill it. And there it goes. That actually is not what you want if you're a arc carrier, to die. But you gotta have that. You gotta walk that fine line. You wanna have a nice low mobility march, but you also want to stay alive.
Wow, JST with another arc grab.
They're great at that.
Real. That carrier. Woo. That is impressive. The reaction time.
Trajan running with it.
You know what, though? It doesn't matter who's running with it.
Well, yeah.
Because JST has just cleaned it up. There's just nobody left in the middle. from Song to contest this thing anyways?
Another pickup, this time Alexander with a full infantry march. And there's just, like you said, there's just no Song. Look at all the blue marches just instantly disintegrating. It's insane. JST's ability to own the open field inside the arc lane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, JST is just absolutely dominating
Already peeling
the
out.
arc. Yeah.
Already peeling out to the outside.
Absolutely dominating the arc fight. Now, Trigothian, let me just point something out here. Do you see all these Trajans that are going to this middle arc fight?
Just so many Trajans.
There's a lot of Trajans, a lot of Artemisias, even some Attila Takedas, but those are probably backup arc carriers, right? Any Cav March is the potential for a backup arc carrier with the mobility talents, right? So, or not mobility talents, with the charge talents in the cavalry tree, 30% march speed when you're below 50%.
You know what else I'm seeing that I'm really curious as to the methodology behind it? Well, I mean, I understand some of it, but Edward El Cid. I'm seeing a lot of Edward El Cid.
I find that surprising too.
Yeah.
I really dislike Edward.
For the open field, to me, he's one of the worst, but especially in this situation where you need to have AoE, which Edward doesn't have. You need to have fast casting skills, which is the exact opposite of what Edward is. But he does have major punch. So, I mean, if you can keep him alive and keep him high health, which is hard to do in a big old murder ball, he will devastate any target that you put up. So, I mean, that's something to think about. But I am, like I said, just a little fuzzy on why Edward El Cid, whenever maybe that could be another Artemisia YSG March, or that could be even Edward Nebu a little bit, or El Cid Nebu would be great, in my opinion. Get that silence, get that faster casting skills going crazy. By the way, still holding JST while that is all happening with the arc, still capturing and holding the top lane Shrine of Life from Song. Song has not been able to take it back with the Swarm, and now their rally is coming in. And I mean, they've got a lot in here. JST has properly reinforced this.
Yeah, this time they've got the infantry and they've got the Zenobia. I mean, I think we would all agree that Zenobia is the superior captain, which is why people use her on the close side of the map. But just because she's so slow, you generally don't make her the captain on the far side of the map because you'd have to march infantry so far. But JST, they've got that captain in place, and you can see that sustain from her healing is really paying off here. Every second they hold this, they're getting more points.
I will say the points have kind of knotted up a little bit. I wonder if Song has returned some provisions or something, because I haven't seen anything on the map that has really said to me, hey, here's an extra 2,000 points. Because they were down by 4,000, which would have put them at 13,700. Right now they're at 15,700. And I know they took the altars for a little bit, but to me it wasn't any more than JST did. And JST already has an arc capture under their belt with another one coming. They made some points up somewhere. I don't really know where else it would be other than provisions, but hopefully for Song, there's more where that came from, because they're staring at right now a 5,500 point deficit in favor of JST. That's a lot of points to have to make up.
Yeah, there is a huge delta that they're going to have to bridge the gap of here, as we saw two rallies pass each other here. Hulk smashing into the Desert Altar, bringing with him a huge group to swarm. This thing is under some serious pressure, and you know the advantage of a Ramses against Zenobia is that with an expertise Ramses, you cut that healing, baby. 2 seconds, though. You know the funny thing about that is, like, we talk about how you could block the healing, but I wonder how frequently you actually end up timing nicely with Zenobia's heal and doing anything at all.
Tough. I mean, with the support,
right? Like,
with the support talent tree, it's
aspirational.
Yeah.
Stopping heals. I feel like it's mostly aspirational. Although, I think we saw a heal just get stopped, and boom, there it goes, a false. So I mean, I don't know. You only have to stop a couple heals for it to be kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, Zenobia's big thing, that's her thing. It's like, hey, let's heal something. That's what she does. And if you take that away from her, she's gonna fall. She's no better than a Charles at that point, basically. In fact, even worse, because she doesn't even have that shield. But again, another Ramses Nebu rally heading out against this shrine, or I'm sorry, the Sky Altar on the bottom lane, along with a heavy field contingent in its wake. But I mean, Song making again the same strong plays on these altars, taking the desert altar on the bottom lane away from JST and holding it with 1 minute 15 seconds left until it starts ticking points for the blue team. They are going to be in good shape on that one. And then the Sky altar on the top lane, heavily under assault, and Song might take this one too with another rally going right by it from JST's SNC. We might see 4 blue altars here in the next couple minutes, although JST is doing a great job on this top lane Sky altar, holding it. And speaking of holding it, where is the Arc, Jiskel?
Yeah, fair enough. Speaking of what a transition.
Yeah, I love it.
What a
Like
transition.
for a
Well,
living.
you tell me when you find that Arc. I'm watching this Sky
It's at
altar
the
get
obelisk on
melted.
the top lane for JST, just sitting there, looking pretty.
Looking real pretty. There it is. 4 altars for Song. Now, if you're in Song, this is what you needed to do. But it doesn't stop here, Dragothian. I think it starts here, right? They need to hold these things, not just take them, if they're going to make up this gap. And JST is not going to oblige. They've taken the Desert Altar, far side, Jadwiga captain.
Yeah, it's a 210 point per minute game in favor of Song. However, the actual overall score tells a different story. 2,500 point lead for JST, having captured that first arc and doing enough on the structure game to keep Song honest. I think we're going to see, when we look at the summary for the overall report, we're going to see a heavy number on Song's side of the sheet, but we have to figure, is it going to be enough to outweigh what seems to be an overwhelming victory on the Arc of Osiris score side of the sheet for JST?
Yeah, you know,
And now they've got 3 altars, by the way.
what's kind of interesting is that I think that JST faked out Song. So I'm not exactly sure what we saw the points were that were used, but did Song use a building capturing ability? Did they use hard push earlier? So after the arc was being held, I'm pretty sure I saw Song use hard push, which meant that when that mid fight happened, they could have had to the death, but they didn't have to the death because they didn't have enough points, because they had used it on hard push to take buildings, I think. Does that sound right? I mean, why else would neither side have used anything other than Mystical Formation and War Drums, other than they didn't necessarily have the points, right?
Well, they've got, I mean, they may both just be stacking up everything. Like there's a possibility that both teams are going to go into this third arc once this thing finally gets capped at the top lane obelisk for JST. If this gets capped and, in 10 more minutes, right, we're going to see a major fight where 10 points on each side might be used. That means either you're looking at to the death with Mystical Formation and War Drums, or maybe Sneaky Tactics. There's a damage buff inside of that skill. I mean, we saw that used last week with TR, right? You also have, obviously, the healing skill with Heaven's Grace. That's a possibility to be as a counter to the death. I mean, these guys are all prepared. I guarantee you they both have the next fight up in their minds right now. And just like that, JST capturing the arc, ready for another fight in 8 minutes.
Yeah, Takeda rally here had some archers in it trying to take back the Desert Altar. Did not go well. Yeah, did not go well. You really lose out a lot of the effectiveness of an Takeda rally with the wrong troop type in there. So a little bit of a miscommunication. But at the end of the day, that's not really going to matter. What's going to matter is this next arc. And I think Song is in some serious trouble, because every single arc fight so far in what I'll call a quote, even-ish fight, JST is emerging victorious. So Song needs something to make the fight unfair in their favor. Now, usually that would be more ability points to use. But because JST held the arc just now, I think to your point earlier, both teams are probably going to be capped out at 10 points. So in an even fight, if JST continues to win those fights, they both use to the death. They both probably use war drums and mystical formation. and that's a JST arc to win, right?
It is. And again, to your point with the trying to figure out, because they're not all showing up on the screen. We can clearly see that the alliance skills are not all showing up. I feel like Song and JST has kept up a hard push style skill, whatever it is, because I keep seeing these very low timers whenever these buildings go a different way, and these buildings are getting captured quickly. And you know what's got to be? I would be so frustrated if I was in Song's Discord right now, because as soon as you make some headway, you're like, okay, we got 3 altars. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep the pressure up. Let's go to the middle early this time. Make sure we position the way we want to do it. And then bam, you've lost all your altars. JST's taking them. It's crazy to think like you have to deal with that every single time. JST takes the arc. They go and defend. They lose some of their buildings. Song takes them, and as soon as like they turn around, they've now lost all their stuff. And now JST has their stuff, and now JST's in the middle where they want to be, positioned with their proper troops and absolutely devastating everything. That's got to be so frustrating to the Song folks, trying to get ahead of what JST is doing on the field over and over and over again.
I think you called this right at the beginning, right? That JST was going to be in all the right places at all the right times, and that coordination was going to be their strength. And that seems to be playing out in spades. For sure.
I mean, just look at the middle. We got 5.5 minutes left. JST already starting to kind of trickle in, and here comes Song. And
Song is late. Spots. I mean, at this point they're late, right? Yeah, Song is already late for a team that absolutely must win this arc or lose Arc League. They're definitely late, and JST is giving. It's not like they're just late for no reason. JST is giving them every reason to be distracted, every reason to be late. Don't you want your Sky Altar? Right? Like JST is making them answer tough questions, right?
To be blue, isn't it?
Right. I mean, JST is asking tough questions. And I think that the priority for Song has to be abandon everything else. It doesn't matter anymore. If they don't get this arc, it's over. It's straight up good game over, because JST can hold this arc and that's it. That's the end of the run.
I'm looking at the battle points here, and now, by the way, it's a 6,300 point game, and JST has a 90 point per minute advantage on the timers. So, I mean, just like I said before, it was 200 points per minute in favor of Song just a moment ago, and having 3 of the altars going their way, or at least in their color. Now it's the opposite. JST now has 3 altars. JST in 1 minute will have a 3rd altar ticking points in favor of the red team. They have all their other structures except for 1 outpost. And again, they are in the middle. And I think Song actually, we said that they were a little bit late.
They missed an opportunity.
Necessarily late. They missed an opportunity.
They missed a huge opportunity during what you were just saying. That JST used all that time. Look at this. JST is like, fine, you're not going to take the space. I will. Look at that. I mean, I think Song could have pressured them. There were 5 marches from JST and 20 marches from Song, and they definitely could have taken the whole temple area. And instead, they were balled up back here. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading that.
That's Song's spot. Like the past 3 arc. This is the 3rd arc, right? We have 2 captures already. Every single arc they've popped here. They've got a marker on their field, on their screens that says gather here, and that's exactly what everybody's doing. And they've done this before, right? Like in past matches, this has been fine. They come here, they let the other team kind of get forward a little bit. And then Song, because they have such a heavy open field presence, and they've got the right commanders and the gear and the talent and the coordination, they just push to the temple, and they're like, okay, well, we're just going to own this. Here we go. We're going to plunk our stuff right here, and we're going to destroy everything. Well, JST just does it better. JST's just doing it much better, and Song hasn't run into that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Song has run into a team that can do this to them in the middle, right?
I don't think they've seen it yet. Now they're seeing it.
I think this is the first time they've really had this sort of a struggle in the middle. This is going to be a tough spot for them. And every second that ticks, I mean, they're taking this fight in a more and more disadvantaged way. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Oh, man. JST throwing their signature E-Song incense. They're calling this shot, my friend.
Oh,
They
my
are
goodness.
calling this as good game already. Look at that. JST saying, I'm sorry, this nail's already in the coffin. This game is ours. And Song is losing time. I don't know what they're doing. They made it. I want to be clear that, like, they made it further than either of us did. So
Oh, yeah.
they
Yeah.
may know things we don't know about how to play this
rounds.
fight, but I just
Oh, well,
worry
yeah.
about what they need to do here. And the biggest mistake they could make now, Dragothian, is to run straight to the temple. If they run straight to the temple and let JST grind them out, this is definitely a loss.
Well, they did this the last 2 times.
But they're thankfully I don't see them doing that. They're fighting. That's good. To the death. There it is, baby.
Oh, boy.
To the death has been activated by JST, but not by Song.
So let's wait. I mean, JST has done this over and over and over again. The last
This is
2 times they've let them use.
If Song
everything.
didn't use their abilities here, this is definitely
It's
over.
a GG. There it is.
It's-
There's war
it's-
drums
yeah.
for JST
For
again.
JST.
I think maybe there's just a delay. Yeah, here comes Song with To the Death.
Let's just
mystical
assume
formation,
there's a
yeah.
delay, because if you use
Yeah.
those abilities that late, then this matchup is straight up over.
Well, I can already see.
GG.
Well, both sides are getting about equal here. I will say, just to point out, I will say 100% JST does have hard push activated already as well, because they have a 2-minute timer on the freshly taken Shrine of Life in the top lane from Song. So they have that benefit going nonstop basically for the rest of the match here if they decide to do it one more time.
Wow. Wow.
I
I don't know
know
who's going to win
yet.
this.
Yeah, it's still
But
up in the
if-
air right now, but it's looking
If
good.
we just look to the past
JST.
couple, I mean, it's been JST by I mean, honestly, I'm going to say by a landslide, but it's kind of not. Like,
It's
it
not a
is because
landslide, yeah.
well, but it is because they're the only ones left. Like, there's nobody left, but it isn't because the marches that are left for JST are all really low. There's like 30 low health JST marches at the end of every one of these arc fights that we've seen so far. And there's JST
Grabbing
picking up
arc.
the arc and just walking away with it. Wow.
Okay, so arc down a lot quicker than it was in the past. Still a decent ways away from the temple, though. They got a good run on it. But, I mean, I see a lot of Song going back with sad faces, and I'm seeing this map look very, very red with names. And that's not bloody names. That's just the team color of JST, and they're starting to do it again, guys. I can see it. Song going home with sad face. I mean, it's the same recipe.
Yeah.
It's the
Same
same
play,
recipe.
run 3 times.
Yeah.
JST ran the same play 3 times, and
I mean, there's just nothing you can do, though. That's like, what do you do against that? To
I
fix
mean-
this, you can't just fix it in the middle. Just go. You
well,
gotta
I think you can.
do other things.
I think you can, but it's not easy, right? Like a team, you know, OV, the 2-time season champion, I think they are better than probably any other team I've seen at adapting mid-fight and making it work, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this seems like Song ran it back 2 more times after they lost the first one, and they needed big changes. I don't know if they're in, it's so interesting to hear what they're saying in their Discord, but it would be, I would be saying
it. Dang it.
everybody,
Darn.
I would be saying everybody
Words
to
like
the
that.
middle. Everybody to the middle after they lost the first couple arcs, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you lose the structures for a few minutes, man. If you lose the arc, especially this arc, it's game over. And I wonder if they're just going to cap this arc. It doesn't even matter what they do, really.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a 7,000 point game right now. It's going to be a 11,000 point game once they capture the arc. There's 10 minutes, 11 minutes left right now. I mean, the only thing that they could possibly do for Song right now is to give them the last arc being a 4,500 point arc, but I still don't think that's going to be enough to break an
it's way-
11,000 point
nope.
lead there.
Nope. The gap is too wide now.
Yeah.
After this arc is scored, the gap is too wide. And if this arc had been scored by Song, it would have been possible that if they played the structure game just right and out provisioned, that they could have done it. But I think with this arc, if it gets scored by JST, that's game over at that point.
You know, if let's start to try and analyze some of this stuff. So what could have Song done, differently in this matchup, seeing what we've seen? And I don't think there's any right answer right now because it requires a lot more in-depth analysis than just our kind of ad hoc, quick takes on some of this stuff. But hard push again being used by Song there, actually getting to see that skill for the first time in this match. Um, I think if I'm looking at this and I'm Song and I'm like, well, what could we have done differently? There's not a whole lot. I mean, Song played a very solid match. They're constantly taking structures from JST. They're constantly going, where they need to go to do what they need to do that they've done for the last few weeks to get to the semifinals of one of the hardest realms in the game right now. What do they do differently? Well, if I had to put a finger on it or a name to it, it's just about more structural integrity on the outsides. They needed to recognize that JST has some timing plays of their own, focusing on the outside lanes, dragging out Song's reinforcements away from the center while also going to the center themselves. If you wanted to fix that middle fight, the only fix I can see is to do the same thing to JST, where you need to get as many of those field marches away from the middle as possible, because as you can see, if they're able to get to the middle, they're going to beat you.
Yeah, I mean, so I think I have a different opinion. So what I heard you say, and keep me honest, is you, if you're in Song, would focus more on the structure game and holding on to your structures better. I think the mid
spreading
game,
them out is really kind of my idea. You needed to spread them out more.
Okay, I think the mid game is where I would focus if I'm in Song, because I mean, look, like we saw what happened in all three mid brawls. It was the same thing every time, and it was a one-sided conclusion, right? And I don't mean that in, like, when I say it was a one-sided conclusion, what that means is that, like, sometimes arc brawls last for a long time and people refresh their marches and you can't tell for a really long period of time who the winner is going to be or not. But in less than 3 minutes every single time, JST was the only team left standing.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
so
totally
something is happening there that I think they've got to take a look at, right? And there's only so many levers. Is it your marches? Is it your equipment? Is it the number of players that went? Is it the skills that you used? I mean, I think no doubt after this match, they're going to be taking a hard look at that stuff to figure out what happened.
Oh yeah, they're going to be staring at the combinations that were used, who brought what, that kind of stuff. I think the idea of spreading them out, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? You spread them out, but that helps you in the middle because that means that they're spread out. They can't get to the middle. Your opponent can't get to the middle, at least as quickly as possible. But I think, to your point, in the middle, they should have been a little more aggressive before the battles started. Like that last one, for instance, if they would have been a little closer to that temple, maybe being able to push off JST before they were able to get there in mass. Because there was a point there while I was rambling on about something, right, where they could have pushed their advantage. They had maybe a 2-to-1 advantage in
right.
marches. They could have just done it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that while you can hit structures on the outside to distract the enemy, that is the enemy's mistake. I mean, you're basically asking the opposing side to make a mistake. Will you take back your structure? Do you want to make a mistake? Or will you just go to the middle like you need to do?
Yeah, making the choice, right?
Make them, yeah, and it is their choice to make that mistake. Because if you're Song and you saw you lost the first arc and you saw you lost the second arc, you can't take your structure back on the outside. You can't do that. You have to go middle. If you take your structures back, you're making a mistake because you have to do something different than the last couple arcs that you lost. And the easiest middle of the game adjustment is to say, hey, you folks that are somewhere else, just go to the middle, right? Like, you can't really change your marches, but you can send more people. I think if that didn't, and look, we were watching the middle. We have no clue what Song was doing. But if Song had players taking back their structures before the arc fight, I think that's a mistake. I think they just had to go to the middle.
I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen at this level of gameplay the altars get flipped back and forth so many times. I mean, JST's altars have been habitually blue, and Song's altars have been habitually red. Like, and right now it's exactly opposite of what it should be, and that's been throughout the game. It's been kind of crazy how many times these altars have dropped. And I'm not a huge fan of Jadwiga being used for Garrison, but I will say in JST's giving them a tip of the cap here, it does allow for easier reinforcement from their home area because you're using cav to get there. You're not using infantry. You're not using mixed troop armies. You're not using whatever, right? So getting cav there, speedy cav, you can use those mobility troops to really heavily reinforce quickly if you do take a structure. And as long as you've got something there just to keep it open long enough for those reinforcements to arrive, I mean, you could habitually and for a long period of time just sit there and hold that structure indefinitely while you just stream more and more marches right from your city. You don't even need to be anywhere near it.
Yeah. I mean, so I'll say a couple things. I think that was something that we were keying into earlier in the match, is that the speed to get calves downfield is just so much better than infantry. That's why Jadwiga is used downfield, and close to home you see the infantry garrison, right? That makes a ton of sense. And I think, to complement both teams here, obviously they're both very, very, very strong at taking structures.
Amazing teams.
And a truism that we've said many times that I think we see playing out is that if a team that is, competent at assaulting structures wants to take your structure, they will. Right? Both of these teams can defend. Both of these teams can attack, which is why the differentiator is the arcs. And the arcs are where these teams needed to stand out. And I think this is where JST was just a full cut ahead.
Well, I mean, right now it's a 10,000 point match in favor of JST. And guess how many points the first three arcs give you? It's 10,500. So, I mean, that's basically how they're winning. And that's their points. I mean, that's the delta. Both of these teams doing basically the same thing when it comes to the structure game for the most part. I mean, there's probably some provisioning abnormalities or discrepancies between the two a little bit here and there. 1,000 points here or there really doesn't make a huge difference. It's the big chunk of points that the arcs provide, like you said. And when you win all three arcs in a match, I mean, they almost timed it. You can see it. Look, 2 minutes, 37 seconds left in the match, 2 minutes, 18 seconds left before the next arc spawn. I wonder if, just as a little bit of a cheese, if they didn't try to time that up exactly.
Yeah. So something I often say is you've got to win arcs or structures, and ideally both, but one or the other. And I think these teams went even on structures for sure. And JST just took the arcs. By the way, if you're enjoying this cast, and I can tell you right now, the next matchup we're going to watch is going to be just as hype as this one, UCS versus 1V. Then consider subscribing to the official Rise of Kingdoms channel for more awesome Ark of Osiris League action. Also, links in the description if you're interested in Dragothian or my own channel, where we provide daily Rise of Kingdoms content. I mean, I think we've already summed up what happened in this matchup. Both teams extremely good at the structure game. JST a cut ahead at either getting to the temple area or being at the temple area to win those arcs. Huge.
Massive. And I totally agree. And, we're looking at this map and it's still, going back and forth, just like nothing's about to end in a minute and 15 seconds. They're just fighting, having a good time doing it. Song obviously not as good of a time as JST, being the clear winner here with just over a minute left in the match. Kudos to both teams. I think throwing some GGs in the chat would be of the most importance right now to both teams. Obviously, JST getting the victory there. Running charge from Song being used over by the Desert Altar on the top lane. They're trying to get to that Shrine of War as quickly as possible to maybe take it right in the last 40 seconds just to say hi.
And then Swift Stride used by, I think, JST. Yeah. I am surprised they would reveal their cards like that they were, they have that skill on their bar. I don't know why they would show that they have that. That feels like a minor
mistake.
Whoopsie. Yeah, like why would you show everybody that you've got that plan? I think that, what Song was just showing us was that if they had gotten an arc, perhaps they had enough points that they would have tried to make a breakaway with it by using running charge.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, JST was just way, way faster on those pickups every single time. Every single arc they picked up first. What's the secret? What's the secret? That's what I want to know. How do you do that? Victory.
Seeing through about 100 things on the screen.
Yeah. Victory for JST, 188,000.
Wow.
For their MVP.
Wow.
From 1365. Quite a score. And Dragothian, you did that math correct. 10,500 points worth of arcs. That was the difference maker. Song actually playing the occupation game better than JST, but not by enough to set the difference between the structure, between the arc game. And also, look at that provision score. 8,085. That's not just respectable. That's the best we've seen. But it doesn't matter if you can't get those arcs, right? And look at that Song. What I find so weird, Song won overall for fighting. More kills. Not by a small amount, right? Like 10% more kills. But JST won every mid-fight. I mean, I think they're going to be spending a lot of time looking at what happened in the middle to figure out what went down.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and usually, so the total kills, right? That does usually line up with whoever won occupation score, because you're just tending to kill more when you're taking more structures. So occupation score being able to not only take but hold structures, being in favor by almost 1,000, like we were talking about, in favor of Song. That tends to lean itself more towards having more total kills. However, the number I'm looking at too on the right side is the units healed tab for JST, putting in some heavy healing speed ups for this matchup, putting everything they needed to in. I doubt that there was any Song members that were without the troops they needed to actually fight, but that does tell a tale that JST is still kind of reeling a little bit from that KBK they were just in, where they might not have as many troops as they would have liked, but it didn't matter. 10,500 points in the Ark of Osiris tab will win you a fight whenever there is a 0 on the other side of it.
It sure will. Dragothian, let's jump back to the caster's booth real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. Let's hit the booth.
Let's do it.
Even a caster must verify that they are not a robot. But Dragothian, I am not a robot, and that was a heck of a match that we just watched. JST advances to the finals, and up at 15 UTC is going to be UCS versus 1V. This is going to be a heck of a matchup that you're not going to want to miss. So subscribe to the channel. Throw a like on the stream if you enjoyed it. Again, links for our channels are in the description. You can check those out if you're interested. Any concluding thoughts you've got for us, Dragothian?
No, I think we got a chance at the very end of that match to really analyze, what happened, at least more than just a quick take. And I always enjoy casting with you, Mr. Chiskel, enjoying these matches, getting to be on the front of these things and getting to showcase what these teams can do for the community. Looking forward to doing that again at 15 UTC. A pleasure as always, my friend.
A pleasure as always, and we'll see you all at 15 UTC for another amazing Ark of Osiris League Final 4 on the lucky 13th of the month. See you all there. Good luck. Have fun. And we'll be back in less than 50 minutes.